We are back on the XM52 podcast, and the Baltimore Ravens, who did not die, have beaten the Houston Texans on Christmas night. My name is Jake Louque. We are presented by Jimmy's Famous Seafood. I'm joined by Spenny Claus. Might be getting an appearance from Brian here at some point with all sorts of holiday obligations going on. But the Ravens' main obligation today, after the Kansas City Chiefs went into Pittsburgh and put what I would say is starting to look like a relatively fraudulent Pittsburgh Steelers team on the rack, the Ravens knew what their holiday obligations were, and that was to win today and win next outing against the Brownies as they control their destiny in the AFC North. Pretty convincing argument they put forth today. Great day by Lamar Jackson with 3 total touchdowns. Another great day for Derrick Henry, 147 yards and a touchdown of his own. And the Ravens defense largely standing on their head in this game against a C.J. Stroud-led offense that just couldn't get anything going. They did not look like they knew what they were doing out there. So yeah, overall, just comprehensive. I'm seeing some belt to ass here in the comments. Definitely feels like a repeat. It feels like we're here once again after last season when the Ravens, traveled across the country to San Francisco or Santa Clara, really, and took care of business against the Niners in a game they were underdogs in. I think it was definitely this time around they were obviously favored in this one. I think they were expected to take care of business, but doing so in a way that they did, I don't know if anyone expected that. And I know that you were thrilled with it, Spenny. Your opening thoughts on this game?
Lamar Jackson is the gift that keeps on giving. 'Twas Christmas Day. The Ravens took flight in Houston's pen. They brought the fight. Not a peep of doubt, just pure belief. Lamar brought us joy. Again, more holiday relief. With jukes and spins, the Texans fell. An MVP story, the bells would tell. Baltimore cheered as the snowflakes gleamed, a Christmas triumph. The AFC North champs redeemed. What a lovely Christmas. Thank you to Lamar Jackson as a Ravens fan. We sometimes toe the line on this podcast of fan or analyst or whatever.
I'm totally unbiased. I'm not a fan at all, actually. I root for the best story.
Right. I am just a fan in awe of Lamar Jackson. The plays he made in sequence effectively to dance on a ferocious Houston Texans pass rush and then find Mark Andrews. The words I don't have to describe what he did in the backfield fluidly.
I think you're thinking of Likely on that one where he's
No. First was Andrews for the 67-yard
gain. Oh, right.
Then yes. To Likely in the end zone, what he did to Danielle Hunter, who is a monster, who is a 10 out of 10 genetic freak, disciplined stud athlete, danced on him. And no disrespect, Sam Hubbard, who rumbled in the jungle, but, all right, Sam Hubbard's not, Danielle Hunter.
I'm going to say yes.
Hunter was scared. Danielle Hunter was scared. What do? He froze him in space and then hit a Steph Curry fade away, flick, falling backwards. I'm out of words for what he does. I feel blessed as a football fan, and obviously I love this sport so much, and the team I root for is the Baltimore Ravens, and I get to watch him. I've gotten to watch him for 7 years now, and back-to-back Christmases. He's doing this on Christmas. Do you know how shitty it must have felt for Steelers fans to watch their team get their shit pushed in by the Chiefs? Sorry for cursing on Christmas, and Hanukkah. Happy first day of Hanukkah to those that celebrate. But, man, I'm out of words for what he does. He's the best. He's just the best. He's the best. Derrick Henry is fantastic. The Ravens have looked so good out of the bye. And Marlon Humphrey ended, if you watch Hard Knocks, the show ends on Marlon Humphrey saying, when there's business to take care of, this team takes care of business. And that's why he loves this team. This team has found their new era. It's Kyle Hamilton, Marlon Humphrey, Roquan Smith, Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews, Zay Flowers, Derrick Henry, Rashad Bateman, Tyler Linderbaum, a couple other guys in there. But it feels like they are militant, they are confident, they are having fun, but also so serious. They're not too serious. They're not cringy. They're not, trying to make some big story out of anything. They just handle business. They have plugged every issue. They've had issues this season, right? The offensive line really struggled. They made changes there. Much better now. The defense was horrific. Couldn't defend deep passes, couldn't defend the intermediate part of the field. They have plugged that. They have benched high-paid players and found internal replacements that have been awesome. They have chutzpah. They have resolve. They are steely-eyed. They are battle-tested, and they are really good. And I think the Baltimore Ravens are going to win the Super Bowl. I really do. I think they're the team to beat. I think the Chiefs are a hell of a football team, and you know, it's not shocking to see them get it done either. But I think this Ravens team has so much talent and enough discipline to match the talent. And I would say the discipline and the bright lights in the playoffs have gotten them into some weird spots. They've been in all the weird spots now. They're not, you know, young, green, fresh. They're at this nice, they have this nice core of fantastic players. They're smooth, they're calm, they're fun, they're serious. They're a team that I'm proud to be a fan of. And what more can you ask for, especially this time of year?
Yeah, no, there's a lot there. I think you're absolutely right on pretty much all the points you make. And man, I mean, you got to hand it to them. Tweet here from Albert Breer. The Ravens just played 3 games at 11 days. Aggregate score: Baltimore 100, opponents 33. So coming out of the bye week there, you just absolutely handle your business against the Giants with the 5 touchdowns. Put up 34 against a good Steelers defense, albeit they were a little banged up. I get that. And then obviously going to Houston on a very short turnaround to play a Texans team that's already clinched their division. I mean, they're in the playoffs. I know they haven't looked great of late, but man, I wouldn't call that the easiest draw in the world. And you get yourself to an 11-5 record with a chance to go and win the division. And I think you're right that they're sort of clicking on all cylinders at the right moment right now. Felt like they had some things to work on heading into that bye. I mean, we saw their offense just look kind of gassed against the Eagles. It looked like they didn't want to be out there. We saw the issues with Justin Tucker in particular, those final 2 weeks heading into the bye week with the Steelers and the Eagles, or the final 3 weeks, I should say. Man, we saw issues with the defense pretty much all throughout the first half of the season, and it's just slowly started to turn around. I think some of that turnaround could probably be owed to Dean Pease, but you got to give credit to Zach Orr as well, and to the players for just kind of calming things down, not letting it totally get into their head. Kyle Hamilton obviously playing more of a traditional safety role has been a big thing, as has been talked about a lot. He gets an interception tonight, which really I think was the one that salted the game away. I mean, you're coming out of the half as the Texans with a chance to drive down and maybe keep it a little bit closer. Hamilton gets his hands on the ball, picks it off, and then, Lamar runs for the touchdown a couple plays later, 48 yards. I feel like that was the one that kind of sealed the deal. I think you're right. I mean, all these teams that have gone to the playoffs for the Ravens, I feel like this one has really had to run maybe the most significant gauntlet that I think we've seen them have to run. I think last year they didn't play many slouches down the stretch, certainly, but I mean, you're going to be in week 18 and you're going to be having to go and beat a Browns team that has already beaten you once this season to win the division. So you're still going to have a carrot dangling in front of you. You're still going to have red meat to go and get, and you're hopefully going to be able to carry that into the playoffs. And with the way this offense is playing, Derrick Henry just quietly looking amazing. Lamar Jackson, he's 100% in the MVP conversation at this point. I mean, for all the deniers that I think are located in the Buffalo area, and then obviously some people, maybe one that a prominent voice for ESPN who used to be a backup quarterback. I don't know, man. It's very much a conversation, and I know it's kind of a vibes, know when you see it narrative type award. I still don't necessarily expect him to win it. I think people are going to just kind of want it to be Allen this year, and that might lead to it. But ultimately, like, if you're not looking at it as like at least a coin flip, I don't think you're being fully honest with yourself. Stats are better across the board. They have one less win now. And I don't know, he's got it all right in front of him. The Ravens have it all right in front of them, and you're not going to get better than the 3 seed probably. But I mean, shit, man, like I keep going back to, if I would have known after that 0-2 start when I was so down in the dumps that they'd be fighting for a chance to be a 12-5, 3 seed AFC North champion, locking it up on the last day. I don't know what I would have thought. I just think it's an impressive job all around by this organization, and it shows how high their floor is and how strong the foundation is.
I don't know what Nike and Apple and Beats by Dre are doing, but why are they not doing anything you can do, I can do better with Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen? Why is that commercial not running right now? The debates are so rampant. They're both athletic quarterbacks that run. Allen gets a touchdowns. Lamar has a 48-yard dash today, which, I mean, would be Josh Allen's longest rushing touchdown of his career, just on a short week, real quick on Christmas, just a quick, 48-yard touchdown, just running by everybody, just melting the defense.
Fastest run
just casual.
21.25.
I believe it was. I got the notification from the NFL. I was trying to look through next gen stats. I believe that was the fastest he's ever run in his career in year 7.
Yeah.
So again, it's just at this point, the goalposts have been moved very far, and we'll get into the game a little bit. But at this point, it's just like, all right, can't beat the Steelers, check mark. Going backwards, it's like, can't throw the ball downfield, check mark. Can't throw outside the numbers, check mark. Can't, sustain his running, check mark. Can't, check mark. Going all the way back. I mean, he wasn't even that highly touted of a recruit out of high school. So he was. I think he either got, I can't remember, he got snubbed by Florida State or picked Louisville over Florida State, whatever it was. But nonetheless, ends up at a Power 5 school as a quarterback. So it wasn't like he was some, 0-star unknown from North Dakota or something. But man, this team just has so much resolve. And I'm going to be honest, speaking of this game specifically, I'm full-fledged, Spenny Claus the fan today. I was screaming at my television because there was a sequence. The Ravens are up 10-0. They keep running Zay Flowers in motion away from the run. It's like Zay Flowers goes one way, the run play goes the other. The backside defender is never blocked. Will Anderson just gun upfield. It's 10-0. You want to you have the opportunity to take that commanding lead, go up 3 scores early. They end up doing it anyway, to their credit. But it was stupid football, and I like to see them get out of it. So it's 2nd and 14. Then they run a draw. Will Anderson plays aggressively again, and then Lamar gets sacked. And then you're out of field goal range. You're pushed back. You punt the ball to the Texans. Your defense, who has absolutely balled out, like you mentioned, Jake, over the last month plus, gets another stop. Texans punt the ball, but they get a penalty, down to the 6, but they get a penalty. So they repunt. The new punt returner, who you just signed from the Texans off of waivers, doesn't field the punt. The ball just happens to lay at the 2. And then you run another Zay Flowers motion away from the run concept and then at a shotgun. And then Derrick Henry, I mean, really the play call, we can criticize the, under center shotgun. Sure, it's easy in hindsight. And Henry made a stupid decision then. It was just dumb football for 15 to 20 real life minutes. Safety. He tries to bubble and thinks he can stiff arm. And, he's not stacking who the corner is that ends up fitting the run because Zay Flowers motion away. It's Kamari Lassiter. He's a very physical rookie, big dude for a corner, and makes a great play, and it's a safety. And then you're punting the ball back to the Texans. They return the ball to the 40-yard line. And it was like, Lord have mercy, maybe they ran out of gas here. The play calling was vanilla, this, that, and the other. And my point here is that they didn't just cleanly run away. They started the game really well. The adversity opened up, and then they just chilled. Hard Knocks was so good. Harbaugh walked around the whole time. It was a little, every head coach has some cheese to them, but he's going, I'm all high fives and smiles. He said to Lamar Jackson, he said, he said it to EDC, he said it to Todd Monk, and then he said it to Lamar Jackson, and Hard Knocks just cut to him saying to each of them, I'm all high fives and smiles today. Hey, Lamar, Steelers make a play. I'm all high fives and smiles. We'll make the next one. And it feels like, Jake, we've talked about the tension in some of these games, maybe not today, but the Steelers game, which was just a few days ago, the tension, make a play, have to, forcing it, pressing the issue, then making the mistake. That feels like it's over. I think it's over. I think they're just playing football now. And it gets to the point. I mean, the Texans are dialing up pressures, and Lamar Jackson's playing backyard football on them. And if you want to play backyard football, he's the best backyard football player that's ever lived. So the in structure, the out of structure, the ability to overcome adversity, both throughout the season and in game. I'm just really impressed with this team. This defense struggled so much. They lost Mike McDonald, Anthony Weaver, Denard Wilson, and more. And now they're a good defense. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, they're the freaking Steel Curtain or, the 2000 Ravens, but they're a good unit. They don't blow coverage anymore. They get pressure. Kyle Van Noy, Justin Madubuike, Adafe Owe, Mikey Pierce, Travis Jones, those guys are getting pressure. Marlon Humphrey getting pressure, blitzing a lot out of that nickel. And I'm just really impressed. And I'll go as, I do have really high expectations, and I'm setting really high expectations for this team. But as of today, basically at the end of the season, I'm going to go ahead and do the naughty thing and say the Ravens beat the Browns. I'm really impressed with this season from the Ravens. Playoffs can change that, and we'll get real aggro. They lose in the wild card, they lose in the divisional round, they lose in the championship. We'll crying, piss and moan and all that stuff. But I'm really impressed with the way they've overcome adversity, both in games. How many games have they trailed by 10 in? The Bucs game earlier this year, that feels like 300 moons ago. They are down 10 and just chilled. So I love this team. I'm having a lot of fun watching them. I really appreciate them as a fan and how tough some of the things that they've done in season are. They've remained very healthy. I'll knock on wood for them, and they get through this game with a good bill of health, hopefully. So, man, Christmas, back-to-back years, Jake. On the road, win both those games against playoff teams. Niners last year were considered the best team in the NFL. Texans, not very scary, but they already have their division wrapped up. They're a good team, and you fucking smacked them again. So I'm really, really just proud to be a Ravens fan.
Yeah, hard not to be. And yeah, like I said, there's quite a discourse going on right now about the MVP. I don't think Bills fans are too pleased with how things have transpired in the last week and a half or so. And like I said, I'm still I think it's still kind of in Allen's favor at this point, but we'll see what happens. As far as their ability to go on and win the Super Bowl, I think, man, it's like I said before, I'm just really kind of happy about the fact that they just have red meat in front of them for that Week 18 game that they can go and, play that. You'll still, if you win it, you get yourself a home playoff game. You're going to be playing probably a pretty tough team as the 3 seed, right? It's going to come down to Broncos and Chargers, I think. So yeah, I mean, you've already obviously beaten both those teams, but that could be a tough out. And let's say you win that, then, I'd say divisional round, you're probably going to be feeling pretty good about yourself, and you can get through that, then you can probably beat anybody. And I don't know. I'm proud of them as well. I think in particular, I think this defensive turnaround has been kind of the story of the second half of the season for me. I think we know this offense is super talented. We know what they can do. They're well coached. Everything that we say about the week to week, but a guy like Darius Washington coming in and making plays that he's made back-to-back weeks, the fumble that he forced on Russell Wilson that really turned the tide of that game and kept the Ravens in it, really. I mean, the Steelers would have gone up. And then obviously after the PI call on Marlon tonight that I think was pretty ticky-tack, and then the Texans go for another 4th down there at the goal line. Ardarius comes flying in, makes the play, and then, of course, we have Zach Orr flying in on him. Just a hilarious screen grab. I'm trying to pull it up, but my computer's it's weirdly, frozen right now. I can't, operate within Google Chrome at all, so I don't know what's going on with that. I can't pull up comments. I can't do anything. So I'm glad that my stream is still coming through effectively, but I am completely just hands tied behind my back right now. But yeah, no, it's just been the story of the second half of the year. Hamilton, like you had been asking for, just playing that traditional safety role, pairing him up with Washington. Roquan Smith saying something recently to the effect that Hamilton playing in that role has freed me up. It feels like the Jenga piece for a defense that needed a foundation to be built upon. And that's really been, I think, what's buoyed them in a big, big way, particularly since the bye week, because obviously they didn't look great against the Eagles. But since then, it's been pretty solid. And Harbaugh said it was, they just absolutely have crushed it in this 3 games out of 11-day stretch. You got to give them a ton of credit.
You do, and this coaching staff, and they've also have Hard Knocks in the building, and it's not. I mean, they definitely have some editorial control of that. But Ravens went into Houston on a short week, pretty good defense, ran for 251 yards. Derrick Henry 27 for 147, Lamar Jackson 4 for 87, both scoring touchdowns. Keaton Mitchell had 11 carries for 20 yards. Rasheen Ali actually contributed negatively. Let's put Rasheen Ali on the Nick Boyle program. Let's get him some test boosters and some steroids and roid him the hell out and turn him into a power back and take that 6-game suspension. That would be my personal 2 cents there. But, I mean, this defense too, Marlon Humphrey forces a fumble, pressure, Kyle Van Noy 11.5. How many career years and records are being broken by this team right now? Lamar Jackson sets the record for most rushing yards in a season by a quarterback. Derrick Henry has 16 touchdowns now, sets a Ravens franchise record. Mark Andrews has 10 touchdowns as a tight end, very rare feat. Has multiple 10-touchdown seasons as a tight end, very rare feat. Hall of Fame?
Lamar breaks the record for most of all time tonight. He surpasses Michael Vick. The broadcast, I feel like, kind of missed it in the moment when it happened, which was sort of confusing. But, it's 6,000 and change. He passes that tonight. I think fans were maybe tracking that closer than the broadcast was, but that's another pretty big one right there.
It is, just breaking records left and right. The Ravens have the most yards in franchise history. This is week 16. Week 17. So this is the normal length for the last, I don't know, when did they change it? When did they change it? The 80s? 70s or 80s? They went from 80. When do they go to
16 games?
Yeah, 16 games.
I think it was the 80s.
Somewhere in the 80s. Yeah, 16 games. So broken all those records, not even needing the extra game. So the yards per game, I mean, they're scoring over 30 points a game. They outscore their opponents over, 100 to 33. You know, they do coming out of the bye, the Giants, the Steelers, and then the Texans. Their defense has just been lights out. And, you know, none of those teams are the Bengals pass offense, the Chiefs offense, not that they even scored 30, but the Bills pass offense, the Lions. But still, it's not like
they've handled their business against the Steelers, right? And it's not like it's easy to go on a short week to a playoff team like the Texans, you know. And
it's not. Yeah, it's not like they went and played 3, you know, bottom feeders. So you're impressed there. It's 2 playoff teams that you beat in that stretch and beat the shit out of them, frankly. Especially pulling away in the second half. Lamar Jackson is taking a chain with the wild dog logo on it that a kid made him by 11 minutes in the fourth quarter, smacking hands, playing around. It's peaking at the right time. Derrick Henry is the hope, man, that can even make things even keel. And the way that he was able to on that turf, not that they'll play in turf in the playoffs, but his acceleration into the hole tonight on a short week, he was flying through the hole. The Ravens ran trap left, trap right. They were running some inside zone, having him run right downhill, and he was flying through the line of scrimmage. He almost had like a 98-yard touchdown run on their drive, I think, following the safety maybe. He almost busted a touchdown the entire length of the field. They can play fast. They can play close. Tucker making some kicks. I've been doing the no look. I've been plugging my ears. If you want to join me, anyone, please do. I plug my ears. I close my eyes. I look down. I'm never watching another field goal of his. I'm 2 for 2 now doing so, or maybe 3 for 3. Man, I can't remember how many kicked last week, but you know, kicking the ball better, returning the ball with a little gusto, some things that get worked out there. Still the punt return situation. Of course, Desmond King, like we said, is electric, but keeps coughing the ball up. So they give Steven Sims a shot. He lets a ball bounce. So that's really like the last Mohican, the final frontier for them is kind of figuring out the punt return situation. But man, all these different units, all these different aspects, getting pressure, playing deep coverage, stopping the run, running the football, short yardage, play action, spread, 2-minute, kicking field goals, all of those different things, pass protection, everything is in a good spot. Everything's in a good spot. So get through the Browns healthy, play one home playoff game. I like that. And I like this team going on the road in the playoffs too, playing the villain a little bit if they can get through the wild card round. So just what a day, what a team, what a year for the Baltimore Ravens who, you know, started 0-2, right? Since then, 12-3. It's pretty fucking good.
Yeah, that's been kind of, like I said, that's been my whole thing that I just keep coming back to is just how down in the dumps I felt, how down on Harbaugh I felt at the time after letting Mike McDonald walk out the door. And I mean, shit, man, we really haven't talked about him that much in this episode. You mentioned the Hard Knocks clip with the working out and all that kind of stuff. I don't know, man. He's as much a part of this as anyone. I think he raises the floor. These guys play hard for him, and it can be frustrating at times, but he hasn't really had that many blunders in the stretch either. Like, I can't really think of any bad challenges. He actually wins a challenge tonight on the first down that, you know, it was called a first down on the field. It absolutely should not have been. So, yeah, he wins that one. Can't really think of anything egregious as far as time management or anything like that. I just feel like it's been solid. It's been clean. It's been efficient. And he sort of stayed out of the way and just let Henry and Lamar sort of cook here, and Monken as well. I think he's done a nice job as far as getting these options involved. Not a ton for Bateman tonight. You really didn't need it, and you probably want him to get fully healthy for the final stretch of the season here. Flowers with a couple nice plays, but you didn't need much from him either. It just feels like when all else fails, you can go back to this formula of running it with Henry, running it with Lamar, faking it with, you know, each other, faking the defense out, and getting these tight ends rolling, and they did that big time tonight.
They did. And I want to give a huge shout out to our Darius Washington again. You know, Kyle Hamilton has the pick. And again, I'm just going to repeat myself essentially from the pre-cap we did on Monday night. But Kyle Hamilton, fantastic player. Take nothing away from how damn good he is. Our Darius Washington, little our Darius Washington, all of, 5'8", 170 pounds soaking wet, made plays, makes a franchise defining play, I would say, against the Steelers, sticking Russell Wilson. And if you watch that Hard Knocks, to spoil it for you, go la, 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 la for 10 seconds if you don't want me to, but Ardarius Washington hit him so hard that he was wheezing after. He cracked Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson came up coughing. He hit him so hard and took that ball away. And then Joe Mixon, little bigger, little meatier guy, a little more violent, pun intended, maybe not, but cracks Joe Mixon around the goal line to get off the field after I will say it was a BS.
Rough night for Joe Mixon, by the way, getting into some sort of altercation with Josh Johnson of all people before the game. Goes out there, doesn't have himself a great one, and then Josh Johnson actually completes a nice pass down the sideline, gets a little bit of action there. Wasn't quite tracking the stats between the two, but I don't know. I think if you watched that fight unfolding and you thought Josh Johnson would be involved with like 11 minutes left to go in the game, I think you would know who won that one, and I think we know who did.
Yeah, Joe Mixon ends up with 9 carries for 26 yards. Josh Johnson, 1 of 2, 16 yards there. Apparently what happened was that Stout punted a ball that either hit Mixon or hit like a member of the Texans roster or staff. And then I guess Mixon took offense to that. Like Stout was just practicing punts. Maybe one got a little bit away from him, maybe not, honestly. And hit someone, can happen. You're warming up. There's balls flying around. People are kicking, punting. And then Mixon took issue with it. So Josh Johnson stepped in for Jordan Stout, who definitely, isn't looking to, getting a fucking one-on-one with Joe Mixon, and stepped up and then
throw an ice sheet at him.
Yeah.
His dog.
Flip his hair at him from afar.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there was the beauty of Kyle Hamilton, who there was that clip circulating, CJ Stroud doing his podcast rotations of all that stuff saying, no disrespect to Kyle Hamilton, but they put him one-on-one with Travis Kelce. And Kyle Hamilton was gloved on him anyway on that. So
CJ Stroud knows more about football than I will ever forget. But who was supposed to be on him there? How could he have played that coverage any better? That's like the first time I can recall seeing that clip. Maybe I had before, but that's just a bizarre look for CJ Stroud, who did 50 million podcasts this past offseason, and now look at him. We gotta sometimes we just gotta dial things back a little bit. I like CJ, but I don't know. Maybe
whatever. He was just trying to give Kelce his kudos, but Kyle Hamilton, at least it's fun to get a little revenge there.
Yeah, I would think Kyle probably had that in mind when he picked him off there.
Again, some of this game is garbage time, but Ravens 25 first downs, Texans 10 first downs. Each had one first down via penalty. Ravens convert 4 out of 9 on third down. Texans only 4 of 15. The Texans 0 for 2 on fourth down. Massive stops by the Ravens. The Ravens end up with 432 net yards, 7.1 per play. The Texans less than half, 211 net yards, 3.9 per play. The Texans netted only 153 yards passing in a game that they lost by, 4 scores. They got shut out offensively. The Ravens shut them out, and they were down by the goal line. Just a really sick game. Kyle Van Noy gets another sack, like we mentioned. Roquan Smith gets a sack. Nnamdi Madubuike, Dafe Ole both get sacks. And then I see everyone tweeting. I usually don't tweet during games. I don't know. I'm superstitious, but everyone's almost Owe. Dude has 9 sacks this year. The whole almost Owe thing. Can we drop that? Oh, he missed a couple sacks. Okay. So is everyone else. But Ravens finished with 5 sacks in this game. Their pass rush, the stunts, the one Kyle Van Noy sack early, the stunts have been so clean. Shout out to Chuck Smith. Shout out to Zach Orr. Shout out to the defensive line. Shout out to the outside linebackers. They have been so clean. They have a coordinated rush going. It has been effective consistently. They get pressure in a lot of high leverage downs, at least make it a little more tough. Really impressed with this pass rush coming along. And a unit that Ojabo played a lot in this one, a unit that people, including myself, wanted to see maybe a Calais Campbell added or maybe a little extra help, but they figured it out. And I believe still have 2+ sacks in 21 games now, which is the longest streak in the NFL. So they get a fair amount of pressure, at least every single game. I'm really excited to see how this unit fares in the playoffs. 4-man pass rushes win championships. To me, if the Ravens do fall short and you're not getting pressure on a Mahomes or an Allen or whoever, And that's part of the reason why. I mean, I do think that's where you look at this point. You get the A-plus pass rusher that takes double teams. But I'm excited to see what this unit can do. Nnamdi Madubuike was paid to be a force multiplier and hasn't been as consistent, in terms of sack production. We talked about how we didn't expect him to be, maybe 12 sacks, 13 sacks again this year. But I want to see him continue to turn it up. I feel like he has. They've been kicking him out a little bit. Van Noy's been so damn good. And I can't remember who it was. Maybe it was Pat McAfee show with those guys made the point that Kyle Van Noy, did break his face earlier this year. He did fracture his orbital bone early in the year and just played and set a career high in sacks at 34 years old. So it's a fun win, man. Fun day, fun win, fun team, fun game, fun podcast. If you enjoy this podcast, like it, share it with a friend. Also, speaking of which, we're going to send someone to the Browns game. I fudged up the Steelers scenario. Check out my Twitter. I'm going to think of something tomorrow. I'll post. You guys post something, retweet, yada, yada, yada. I'm going to send someone to the Browns game. Hopefully see the Ravens. I'll knock on wood there, clinch the division. But going to send someone 2 tickets to the Browns game for – I did fudge up the Steelers thing. I was like, oh, well, no one picked So we'll go that way. But appreciate you guys. Appreciate Jimmy's. Appreciate you, Jake. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah to all of those that observe. Appreciate everyone who's listened to this podcast. Appreciate the Ravens. Appreciate Hard Knocks. Please go watch that episode if you hadn't. It was so sick. So sick. So what a day. What a night.
Yeah, what a day and what a night indeed. Hope everybody got what they wanted for Christmas. Hope everyone had a safe and happy holiday, whatever it is that you celebrate. And I know that everyone listening to this, or at least not for our Schadenfreude listeners. I hope if you did tune in this week, which you usually only do after losses and leave mean, nasty comments to us, I hope you did tune in this week, and I hope you're not happy. But for all the people that are not Schadenfreude listeners, we're very happy to have you, and we thank you very much. Anything else before we get out of here, my friend?
Yeah, I got a couple comments. I'm going through. I'm not on my laptop, so I'm not logged all the way. But my buddy Jimmy says people like Wallace and Washington are why the Ravens are a championship franchise and not just a team, and the development they have there. I love that comment. Alex Haney says Ravens only 3 penalties. I believe only 2 penalties on Saturday too. So that's another issue that they've cleaned up. Eric here in the chat says Stroud is having the year that people think Caleb Williams is having. Stroud was horrible, man. He was
really bad, even right off the gate. Like he was missing throws. Like it's going to get lost in the wash because they got blew out. I think he's part of the reason they got blown out here. And again, I like him. I think he's got great potential and he'll bounce back next season. But this was a rough outing for him.
Palisade says penalties and turnovers are the only thing that can stop the Ravens. Jeremy Harris, give Henry the ball 25 times in January. Keep it simple. I like that comment from Palisades. And something that stood out to me about the Chiefs game that was so impressive was Hollywood Brown. I think it was 3rd and maybe 14. I might be wrong there. It might have been 2nd down. But they run like an RPO glance alert, and Hollywood Brown runs like maybe a 4 or 5 step slant on the alert. And no, that's not what it was. Pardon me. It might have been a 2nd and long. That was a different play. Hollywood Brown converted that one. But long story short, Hollywood had like a iffy, probably dropped the ball, kind of sketchy, and the Chiefs ran a play. I think the ball was snapped 11 seconds later.
Yeah.
And that's championship football, and that's what the Ravens need to think about, look about, be about. It's alert, alive, awake to the situation. Like, oh, we might not have caught that one. Don't hesitate. Snap the football. Run inside zone. Run a 3-step route for 3. The Chiefs gained 4 yards on the play.
I have never seen Eli Manning run faster in his entire life, and he probably never has run faster in his entire life than when Mario Manningham made that catch down the sideline in the Super Bowl, right in front of Belichick, and Belichick throws the flag, but Eli was just fucking full out. And like that was a 9-7 team that would go on to win the Super Bowl, and those are just little details that'll get you. And it's like I said about the Chiefs after week 1, they just do the little things right over and over and over and over again, and they have the best quarterback and they have the best coach. And when you do all that and you have those 2 things, you're probably going to win every game.
Those are the details that you need to strive for over the next 2 weeks. The situational urgency, awareness, and I keep using the word militant, the operational aspect of football. And I will say, I'm going to call him out. He's made a couple plays, got some snaps tonight. He's a rookie, so it's not a big deal. It happens. Tez Walker, there was a play, I think in the second half, 3rd quarter, maybe midway through the 3rd quarter. He's on the field, the play clock's running down, and Mark Andrews is screaming at his ass where to line up. No, come back over here. You're on the ball. So then Mark Andrews was trying to like shift to be on the ball because Tez was supposed to be. Those little details. So operationally, I want to see a 100 out of 100 operationally against the Browns. I want the ball being snapped with urgency. I want everything to matter. That sequence, short week, I'll give you the grace there, Todd Monken. And I always say, I will always when you have a $250 million quarterback, the offensive coordinator and the quarterback are both going to get blamed. They're one unit, but I do not want to see a 3-play sequence like that bullshit. The outside zone with Zay Flowers in motion into the draw into whatever sloppy pass play was run. It was a short week. You're on the road. It's Christmas. I'll give you that grace, but you're about to be on the road in the playoffs, most likely if you win a game. So can't be donating yards. Can't be creating and sowing doubt and chaos amongst yourself. Let the other team be the one to do that. That is how you beat the Chiefs. You have to be flawless operationally. I mean, shit, how'd the season start? They go into KC and they're getting called for freaking illegal formation 4 times in a game on some, it was a little ridiculous, but don't even give them the chance. How did the Ravens win the Super Bowl last time? And we reference that too much, but they went to New England and stomped them out. Operationally, they were clean. They went and stomped out the Patriots in New England. Look at that team. Look at how seriously they took themselves and do your best, man. I mean, it's just me being an idiot saying that stuff on Christmas, but those are the details. The devil's in the details. Those details matter. Operational football, penalties, procedure matters first and foremost. So be a freaking nerdy stickler for the fine details of football. Make that your sole focus between now and 2 weeks from now. So I guess maybe January 8th might be Wild Card Saturday, something, or no, it was probably after that.
Yeah, after.
January 11th might be Wild Card Saturday. Something like that. We'll see. But devil's in the details. Make a deal with the devil. Be in the details.
Absolutely. All right, my friend. Is that all we got for tonight?
That's all we got, man. Ravens
indeed.
11-5, looking to go 12-5, AFC North champs. I promised myself last year I'm gonna get a T-shirt and a hat. AFC North. I never get that. I'm getting one this year. I'm getting one.
If you get the opportunity.
If I get the opportunity, I'm getting the hat and the T-shirt.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna hold you to that. Thank you for joining me, my friend, on this very merry Lamar Christmas. Thank you all for tuning in here with us. We appreciate you spending your holiday with us. I know, you were watching some Ravens. You're probably about ready to head to bed, so we're just kind of rocking you to sleep here. But we hope you had a good holiday indeed. Hope the Ravens made it a little bit better for you if you weren't so fortunate to be able to. And either way, we appreciate you spending the time with us. If you liked what you heard, subscribe to us here on YouTube. Like, comment on all the videos, do all that good stuff. Follow us on social media at Exit52 Podcast on X. I am at Jake Louque. That's Louque. Spenny is at Ravens4Dummies. That is the number 4 in the middle there. You can find Brian at Barstool Banks. You can find Taylor at Taylor Smythe 10 and Eric in the comments here at EDITTI22. Thank you guys for listening. And now we're going to show you how the sausage is made a little bit because my Google Chrome is still frozen. I don't have the technological capability to end this stream. Spenny, are you able to on your end?
No. I think we need to possibly leave studio in order to.
Yeah, you might just have to
hit refresh and I'll chill for a minute.
I can't even do that. I can't even refresh, so I might have to just turn my computer off, and that could be interrupted.
We'll go for it. You guys might end up taking over this podcast.
Indeed, you might. Okay, well, we'll talk to you guys again very soon. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you.
See you. Arrivederci.
Arrivederci.